Hello, for today's review I've got a new model released by a company that have a modest name Queen of Audio, and they name their models by the different cocktail names. I already reviewed their Pink Lady, and today it's time to review their next release named Mojito. And as you can see, it's 2 Sonion and 4 Knowles balanced armature drivers. Actually, even box reminds one other famous company, and it's true if you don't know, but it's actually pretty well known fact. Queen of Audio is a sister brand of Kinera. They share same design approach, but release models under 2 different brands. Kinera, by the way, preparing few really interesting models, but they're not released yet, and it's a matter of another talk. And today we will talk about the Mojito. It's 6 balanced armatures per ear in-ear monitors, and as you can see, they're using original Sonion and Knowles balanced armatures. No bell things, and it's usually a really promising start. Price is $400, pretty expensive of course, but let's find out are they worth it. Package is nice, stylish, interesting green texture, gold embossing, so looks rich and engaging. On the back side there are technical specifications: 23 ohms of impedance, 118 decibels of sensitivity, so pretty sensitive in-ear monitors, not super noise speaking, but they require something with blacker background. And frequency response, as you can see, they are more or less linear and tuned in a natural way. And kind of spoiler, it's really true, they have such tuning. Inside we will have card with links to the website, additional inlay with specifications, and once again you can see this frequency response chart. So nice attention to details. 2 sets of tips. Pretty similar, just a bit different diameter of spouts and a bit different softness. So it's traditional tips that we can often see with different in-ear monitors. And what is more interesting here, actually was it mentioned here in the card? So no, it wasn't mentioned here, but in the accessory set you will have 2 cables, 3.5mm one and balanced one. So they have a bit different color and a bit different material, and actually they have a bit different sound. It's not often case, but in this case this one is a bit brighter sounding, but difference isn't huge. So if you don't have balanced output in your device, you can use adapter or don't bother at all. So let's have earphones, let's have pair of tips, and by the way, nice case for storage. Let's get cable. I will use blue one, I like it more. In terms of design, Mojito are also stylish. They are made completely of stabilized wood. There are 3 different color options, if I remember, like amber or yellowish one. Another one is kind of pink or some kind of rose wine, and third one is light blue with yellow. So you can see that both earpieces have unique texture, so no other pairs look the same, so you will have a unique thing. Build quality is nice. Actually it's pretty traditional shell in terms of shape, but as you can see, good build quality, really nice design, so attractive thing with a really rich and stylish look. So pretty good in terms of ergonomics, fitting nicely even in small ears. and spouts have a bit above medium length. Sound isolation is about average, but it will be enough for noisy street and other environment like that. Cables are replaceable. Here used two standard 2-pin sockets, and I'm a fan of 2-pin connectors. So let's see. This one is for red, so I mean for right ear, red, and red means right. So fitting nicely, not super tight, but holding okay. You can see there are 4 bores in each spout, so different sound channels for different frequencies. No big leaf for holding the tips, but spouts are extended on the ends, so holding tips okay. We'll see how it will be after some usage, but for now tips are held well. Stock cable is good. It's super soft, super lightweight, almost zero microphonics, really pleasant to touch, looks attractive. Here it's braided, splitter, chin slider, connector, so all the parts that required for a good cable. So to summarize this part, in terms of design, in terms of outlook, in terms of wearing comfort, I really like this in-ear monitor. And of course about the sound, I did try to burn them in, but of course it didn't change much. Balanced armatures rarely require a burn-in, so no sound change even after 48 hours. But anyway, I did my best. And of course, as usual, it's necessary to find the proper tips. I got the best seal with these solid black ones. In terms of sound, they balancing signature a little bit, adding a tad more weight to the sound signature. Actually, I forgot to mention that cables are made of Furukawa hybrid wires. It's copper and silver braided cable, so it's really good high quality wires. Let's have a player on the table. So it will be Ultima. And in terms of signature, in terms of sound, these earphones reminds us what balanced armatures are made for. You know, we are living in the era of colored in-ear monitors, and most popular tunings are trying to change sound in one or another way. And actually by colored I also mean the monitoring in-ear monitors that makes focus on the micro detailization, on the micro contrast, that are trying to highlight the smallest nuances and details. And I think it's also, you know, a coloration, because sometimes this such in-ear monitors over-sharpen the sound, oversaturate it, and it's really hard to maintain a balance. While these Mojitos really managed to do that. They are probably not the most universal, because they're not suiting some genres, but because not everyone will like this tuning. They are almost absolutely no colored, but at the same time they are not monitoring, and they're not trying to pick tiniest details and throw it right into your face. You know, it's a good and unusual and a pretty mid-forward model for those who like rich mids with that balancing weight and resolution. But probably let's proceed with sound description step by step. So bass here is really technical. What else we can expect from good balanced armatures? Bass are really good in texturing, really good in details. It's a bit on the faster side of things. It's a bit dry as typical balanced armatures weight. At the same time, it will give you more contrast and more sense of realism and more texturing. These earphones are even highlighting textures a little bit. Depth is good, but as it's not a dynamic driver in ear monitors, you won't have tons of weight like hybrid models do or dynamic drivers. So it's a bit different representation because deep bass is present, but it's not pushing you, not dragging attention, not moved forward. Bass here is almost linear with mid frequencies, and actually it's a good thing. Probably it's not the model for the electronic music, but actually I try few tracks with good recorded bass, like Prodigy, Massive Attack. Sorry for putting them together. I don't think that it's similar bands, but it's just a few tracks in my media library with a lot of good synthesized sampled bass, and they sounding pretty great. But of course, like you know that I learned this saying, okay, but no cigar, and I will use it everywhere. So bass is good and it's technical, but of course for electronic music probably one can prefer more accented and more weighted signature. While with real and acoustic instruments like acoustic bass, low registers of fortepiano, they sounding really engaging, rich and saturated. Of course I could use my beloved Musica Nota, but actually I decided to get a bit unusual track, like 7-8 years ago. I like this group really much. It's Caravan Palace. It's some kind of mix of swing, jazz and electronic music. If I remember right, it's called electro swing. And in this track they have both acoustic bass and synthesized drum, and actually these earpieces are managed to deliver right amount of low frequencies with good detalization. What else I can mention about them? They are pretty coherent in terms of sound, so driver overlaps are done well, crossover design is done well, so you won't notice the places where different bands of different drivers overlap. So, you know, pretty good and unexpectedly good tuning from the, how to say it, not unknown brand, but not from a brand of first echelon or some big brands, because Kinero of course is well known as a company that offers a really good price to quality ratio, and they are trying to keep the queen of audio in the same vein, but still, you know, they are relatively less known, and I was surprised by the good tuning. Mids are pretty forward, pretty accented, so they require good recordings, good mastering, but not because they will highlight every single issue or problems with record or every single flaw, but because the better mastering you'll have, the better recording you'll have, they will just reward you for getting the better mastering and better recorded things. And actually these in-ear monitors are rare case when you can easily distinguish regular and high resolution files in blind tests, because sometimes it requires some time, but here it's pretty audible. What else I can say? They are good in building imaginary stage thanks to well-balanced resolution. So resolution of mids is good, but they're not trying to exaggerate it, not trying to make them sharp or super analytical, manage to keep the good balance of weight and good balance between the emotions and the macro side of things and micro side of things. So well balanced and also moving vocals a little bit forward, so stage is above average both in width and in depth, not the most spacious, but really well balanced tuning. And what else I can say, but probably that's all I can say. Let's have an example. And as an example, I've got Hiromi Uehara Dilemma. Well, if you haven't heard Hiromi, definitely recommend it to you. It's a perfect mix of jazz and rock music, or it's a jazz pianist that plays like a rock musician. And also she's really charming and charismatic, and really pause this video and find some of her performances on YouTube and enjoy it, and then go back. I can wait here. Anyway, Dilemma is pretty fast track, and fast fortepiano requires fast earphones, and at the same time it requires enough of weight to sound realistic, because fortepiano, you know, it's a really timbre-rich instrument that requires both weight and resolution and control, and when it's well recorded, it's really hard test for many earphones. And Mojito passed this test, maybe not with flying colors, but passing it really well. And treble here is also pretty well sculpted. Extension is just above average, so I'd like probably to have a bit more extension, but at the same time that could make them less forgiving and more critical for the quality of record. So probably it's intentional idea by the Queen of Audio to reduce the upper treble a little bit to make them more forgiving for the modern records. And at the same time, treble has good resolution, a bit highlighted treble, so if you're treble sensitive, probably you need to try this model before buying, because they are a bit on the brighter side of things. For me, they are not crossing the line of comfort, but I'm pretty treble-philiac person, so tastes are different here, and I warned you. At the same time, treble have nice layering, not superb also, but pretty nice, and for this price range it's a really good result. They are clean, crisp, detailed, and pretty good saturated track with overtones, so nice balanced treble, you know, a bit accented, but at the same time not trying to be ubiquitous or throwing right into your face kind of treble. So, to summarize the sound part, probably I'd say that this model is good for classical music, for orchestral music, for vocal, for instrumentals and other side of things. Rock and metal sounding detailed, and sometimes they are highlighting the issues with records, so it's a matter of taste. If you like to get the detailization and at the same time okay with flows of record, it's a good option. With electronic music, it depends. I'm not a huge fan of electronic music, but with that band that I listen to, they are good. Maybe not like the crushing with low frequencies, but pretty enjoyable, and thanks to the good imaginary stage, all the three-dimensional effects sounding pretty nice. In terms of pairing, they require something from middle segment at least, so if you want to highlight their detailization, grab FIO M11 or I don't know, iBasso DX120. If you want to tame them a little bit, iBasso DX160 or even Hibi R5 and up to the iBasso DX220 probably, and Kane N6 Mark II is their range. And of course they require a bit blacker background than usual, not super black, but anyway. And speaking about the comparisons, you know, it's really hard to do, because usually in this price segment, all in-ear monitors that I can think of, it's actually I need to try to pronounce think a bit better, because think it's not the correct. So think of it's hybrid in-ear monitors like Duno DK3001. It's they have more weight on the low frequencies and they are different in terms of representation, but Duno is a bit more technical and a bit more focused on the micro detalization. SimGod EM5, for example, it's it's more natural and also more focused on the micro contrast. More affordable multi-balanced armature driver models from Chinese brands like BGVP, for example, they are really popular. Or what else we have? I don't remember. Like all that 767 driver models, they are usually using bell things, and it means bit less natural overall sound, especially it's noticeable on treble. Oh yeah, another really popular multi-balanced armature model, it's AudioSense T800, of course, but AudioSense much more V-shaped. AudioSense more highlighting low frequencies and more highlighting treble, so it's fun, but it's more V-shaped. And this model is kind of opposite for the AudioSense. Well, okay, I won't try to think of some other models. If you're interested in some comparisons, just feel free to ask. I will try to say a few words about the difference, but in general, Queen of Audio Mojito sounding a bit different to other models that we have. And you know that unusual tuning nowadays, you know, like 7-8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, such tuning was pretty popular because many companies offered such sound in the high-end segment. You know, the times when like high-end earphones cost $500, $600, and it was crazy expensive. And such tuning was popular. But nowadays, market shifted, and we've got more colored, more accented in-ear monitors, and probably that's why not everyone will like Mojito, but I really enjoy them. I like unusual tuning and I like unusual things, but of course unusual, a bit unusual, you know, not too unusual to sounding some weird or distorted way. And Queen of Audio made a really good thing. Maybe it's not for everyone, but anyway, it's really worth attention. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.